Hello everyone, this is Devabrata once again, and today I'm trying to take a small topic of SQL, or rather we can call it a feature of SQL called pivot. We have the similar feature in Microsoft Excel as well that is quite popular, but again, if you do not know, that doesn't matter because we will try to understand what is pivot in SQL from the scratch. So if we proceed first, obviously, if we take the definitions of pivot, what is pivot actually? So basically, when we try to move some values from row to column, it is called as pivot. But again, as always, I do not prefer to learn more definitions. I'm really not good with the definition. So if we just simply check one example, and after that, obviously, we will try to do that by practically. But what exactly pivot means with a simple example, like if you have a table like this, where you have a person having subject wise marks like this. Now, after pivot, what will be the output? Something like this. So one person having all of his or her numbers or the marks into one row, into one record. And physics, chemistry, math, those were the values previously and separated in different rows, and those are becoming columns. Some people call it, like in simple words, pivot do of row to column, something like that. But again, it is not directly row into column, so we call it like table values from the different rows, and we can make it as a column, we can represent it as a column, something like this. Okay, so that is an example of pivot. So we will just achieve like how to do this pivot in SQL in after means by this class. Okay, so let's see. Let's directly jump into the topic. It will be a small topic, but before that, I will try to show you how we can achieve pivot without using the pivot keyword. And for that, we will require few of the things like case statement, subquery, and group by. We have already covered in our series of classes, we have already covered these classes. So if you are new, either you can do one thing, you can go through these classes, but I will provide the link in the description section, but still it is not that important. So if you are very new to this SQL, so I will suggest you just to skip this topic and start from topic 2. It is neither going to be important for you because just I'm trying to show you in and out of pivot. So it is important to achieve the same without using the pivot keyword. So that's why I'm showing this to you, because I just want you to have a good confidence over the data. So it is not about just completing the syllabus or something like that. We are not doing that here. So so simply, if you are new, you can skip this topic. And if you know what is group by, what is subquery, what is case statement, you can be here. So we have a data like this, like we have, okay, let me close this one. So we have a data like this, like here, you can see each student has multiple data like this. And Shreya, suppose, has physics, chemistry, math, three different marks into the three subjects. Even uh, Ankan, you can see here, appeared for physics and got 30.50. If I scroll down into the table, Ankan again appeared for the physics exam and got 90. So one person might have two different marks in one subject. That also you need to take care. So what I will do now, I will simply write something like case statement. I can simply write something like case when the subject equals to physics, then I'm going to take the marks of physics. Else, if it is not, I will put null there. That's all. And I can make this um, column as subject, something like that. So this is the case when statement. I can do the same for physics and for chemistry and math as well. If I do like that, so when it is physics, then it will, when the subject is physics, it will take the marks. Otherwise, it will put the null simply. So if I show you what are the results I will achieve here. So let me run this. query, you can see the same structure is still same. I have not done anything like row to column or something. For physics here, I'm getting 30.50. For chemistry, I'm getting null and null. For this row, obviously the subject is chemistry. That's why we are getting something here. But for math and physics, we are getting null. Because for this line, if you just concentrate on this line, our subject is chemistry. So obviously something will be available here, not here and not here, obviously. Because for math, it is just checking if the subject is math or not. But if for this row, subject is chemistry. So obviously it is going to be null. It is going to be null here. Okay, so that's the thing we are achieving. It is very simple. But now what we are going to do, we are going to, first, let me put it inside the subquery. So let me put it inside the subquery. Select star from something. And let me do it something like group by role and its name. I do not want to take everything. I just want to do group by with role and name. And here, for each role and name, I want to find the maximum marks of physics, because here you can see for Ankan, I have 2 marks, 30.50, and another one probably at the end. Here it is 90. So I just need maximum marks in physics. Same here, maximum marks is chemistry. If any one of them has appeared twice in an exam, so I'm just taking that. You can put average, you can put minimum as per the rule of your college. So for the time being, I'm taking the best score out of 2. So if I do that, if I run, you can see we are getting something like that. If you follow Ankan's marks, so Ankan in physics got 90, in chemistry 75.50, and in math it is 87. So we are successfully pivoting something, or we can make it from row to column. So we just need to make something like this. As physics, I can mention. For chemistry, I can mention as chemistry, just as a header. And for math, I can mention something as math. So we will have some values at the columns, and you can see that is something what we are trying to achieve. So we have successfully make all the rows into columns. So Ankan is now having one record only. Previous in the original table, Ankan was having 4 records. 2 marks for physics, 1 chemistry and 1 math. But now for Ankan, we have only one row for Ankan. So for everyone, they have 1 row. Got it. So do not need to concentrate on the other data, but if you can pause your screen and you can compare that with the old data. I'm also showing the old data. So it is something like this. Select start from student. If I execute, yeah. Okay. So that's the thing. So you can pause and you can compare those two. But again, you can find the reason of this aggregate function, the significance of using aggregate function here. So if I have more than 1 marks, obviously I have to choose, should I go for the max, should I go for the average? So I can choose the thing here, and I am achieving this topic pivot without knowing anything new. If we are if we are already if you are already following the playlist, so we know all these things in earlier classes. Like, we know what is case statement, we know what is subquery, we know what is group by. So we achieve that without knowing the pivot. But again, it is a new topic, so we have to know what is pivot, how we can apply pivot directly without writing those long statements. So now the topic 2 is something like using keyword pivot. If we can do the same thing in some other way or not, let's explore. So do pivot with all the details. So if I go to some new table, a new query window, I can do something like this. Select star from. So how we write the pivot query in short, though I find it is not that much short, but still. So we have to write one source query. This will be the source query. You can put it like T or whatever. Then you have to write pivot. And then You do not need to write all those case statement and group by things. You just need to mention here, I need maximum marks. Some people are confused, like why we use that. We use that if we have more than one record for one subject or one data, whatever you call it. For the time being, I'm calling it data. So I'm writing maximum marks for subjects in, and here I have to mention everything in the square bracket like this: physics, chemistry, and math. So that is the shortcut what we did earlier. So, and here you have to make one name of this query as well. We can put it like P. If I execute, it is going to give me the same result like previous. So this is the shortcut. So what are the shortcut? Here you have to write the source query. Let me make a comment here. This is a source query from where you will be taking the data. You can manipulate that. You can put some other table. You can put some join. You can put some group by, whatever you can do it here. So this is the source query from where you will take the data. And here is the pivot rule. You have to put it another subquery named P. Say you can give it anything. Okay, you can give it anything. So you can give it Q. It is like a subquery. You can here you can give it like R, whatever. It will still work. Okay, these are just the name. So for the time being, I just give it always T for table, and P for pivot. So you can give anything. So it is like maximum marks. It will always choose the maximum marks if we have multiple records. Like for Ankan, we have 2 marks in physics. One is 30.50 and another one is 90. So I always go for the maximum marks for the different subject like this: physics, chemistry, and math. And those are going to be the new columns in the output. You can see those are going to be the new columns in the output. So again, we got the similar output where we are having one record for one person. So we are having now one record only for Ankan. It looks like similar like here. You can see. So yeah, now you might say like, okay, we do not have state, we do not have gender, because I intentionally didn't put that. If I put it here, it will be also available there. Okay, so gender, states, anyhow, it will be available there as well. So I didn't put that into the group by command. That's why they are not available. So if I put it here, it will be available. But again, my concern is not that thing. My concern is how we are converting something from row to column. Okay, we can have gender and state as well here. But my concern is not that one. My concern is how the data, which is splitted into different rows, even here I will get another record of Ankan at the last. So it was splitted into 4 records. And now after doing the pivot, we are achieving it. We are aggregating them into one record only. You can see everything related to Ankan is available here. So that's the thing we want to achieve. And this is the simple query we will learn today. That is a simple one. So the pivot rule you have to write here. So if you want to do average, so if I write average, so Ankan's first appearance, Ankan got in physics, Ankan got 30.50, and second appearance, he got 90. So if I want to find average, so 30 and 90 average, I'm not that good in mathematics. It will be something like 60.25. You can see. So either you can go for average, you can go for maximum, you can, if you want, you can go for the minimum as well. So if I choose minimum, so 30.50 will be visible here. Okay. So that's the thing. So you can choose your operation here. So that is the rule of pivot. And yeah, if I go to the slide, so do pivot all with all the fields. We already did that. But second option, if anyone wants to see with some specific original column, means if you want to put some filter into the original column, like here, if I do not want gender and state, you can choose your desired data. Like I want to go for role S name and marks and subjects, obviously, because marks and subjects will be needed here. So I do not want to include gender and state. So if I run this query, so you can see you are not going to see gender and state anymore. So it's up to you. You can do some filter here. You can put some where clause where S name starts with suppose S name starts with A or something. Whatever you want to do, you can do it here. This is the source query from where you will be getting the data. So you can put filter, you can do whatever you want here. Okay, but for the timing, I have no intention to put some filter like that. But yeah, I wanted to filter gender and state. I did that by the source query. Okay, so now so if you want to go more and you want to filter the pivot columns, like you do not want mathematics, say, you can simply delete it here. And if you run, you will get only physics and chemistry. If you are interested on only physics and chemistry, you can have multiple subjects. If you want to choose only few columns, that is the option. You have simply deleted the math from here. You have another option to achieve the same. Let it be, you can keep the data here, but here you can choose role, suppose its name, and you can choose from here, you can choose physics and math. Say you do not choose chemistry. If I run, so you can see you are getting physics and math. So now some people will think like, okay, mentioning something here and here is same, almost, but not exactly. It is same. So you can choose everything here. But on this level, when you are doing something, you are writing something here, you are having everything, and you are having everything as a column. So if you want, you can do something more than that. Like if I wish, I can do something like this in this level from outside query. I can do something like physics, chemistry, math as total. I can add them as well from this level, but we cannot achieve the same here in inside these brackets. I cannot do something like here, like physics plus chemistry plus math. We cannot do something here, but we can do it here, because on this level, on this line, if you are writing select star, means you are getting everything: role, name, physics, chemistry, math as a column. Now you can do anything. You can do math plus 5 or math minus 5. You can do all the calculation on that level. So now it's up to you. If anyone wants to have a total, obviously you cannot write any word here. You cannot achieve that by writing anything here. So we have to go on the top where you can see the full set of data. And at that point, you can add something like this: physics plus chemistry plus math, and you will get the total. Because on this level, you can see everything from the top. Okay, so that's one of the key thing I need to mention here, because you have to understand all possible ways, because in the actual workplace, the data might come in any format, and the client or your manager might require the data in completely some other format. So you need to know from where you can manipulate the data. So but again, at the end of the day, it is just a simple query like this. You just need to remember like what is the format of this pivot. That's all. So I'm just showing it in all possible ways. So if anyone says like some extra column, some from some other table, how to achieve that, let me show you. First, let me make it very simple. You can practice all those things by checking the class again. So for the timing, I'm putting it again as star, and if I execute, it will be simple table like that. So now if I want to bring something else, like suppose if I check, I have some table like ST hobby, probably, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, we have created one table during our earlier classes like hobby. So all the roll numbers, few invalid roll number are also, I can see few invalid roll number 50. We do not have anything as such in our student table, but we have couple of role and their interest in the student hobby table. So suppose if I want to put interest as well, suppose roll number 1 is Ankan, so I want to put something like teaching beside Ankan's name. So how we can do that? So obviously, obvious answer is, do not need to think much about this complicated line. Whatever you want to do it in this level. Okay, do it in this source query. So I can do simply like from student as is something. I can do a left join st hobby, as H or something on the basis of S dot role equals to H dot role. Simply, if you run, okay, role is available in both the tables, so I can make it like S dot role. And here I want to introduce something called H dot interest. I think that will be enough. If I run, so I'm just simply joining those two tables. And here I'm getting something like teaching beside Ankan's name. So now treat it as a one table. Instead of state, you can see hobby. The same thing. For SQL Server, it is just another column. Previously, we are having gender, but now instead of gender, we are having interest. So for SQL, it is just another column. But again, if we choose the source query correctly, now if I run the full, you can see them in the original table. Obviously, for all of them, we do not have the interest, but for those we are having the interest, it will be visible in the table. You can see. Okay, so whatever the toughness will come into this source query part. Okay, you will never going to face any complicated situation here in most of the situations. Okay, if you face any situation like that where you are not able to think what will be the ideal solution of the pivot, let me know. Okay, we have a nice exercise as well for pivot. You can have a look into that as well. If you are not able to solve anything, you can tell me as well. So the link will be given in the description section. You can check that exercise as well. Or from anywhere, if you get any difficulties, let me know. So that's what we can do with pivot. So if we proceed to the next topic, so how we can select columns dynamically. So that is one of the important topic because here I'm writing all the columns manually. You can see physics, chemistry, math. Suppose in one case, let me go to some new query window and let me make our query simple again. Like select star from student. Let me delete all these complicated lines. So it is as simple as that. So now, if I do not wish to write all the subjects manually here, I do not want to write everything manually. So what I need to do? Suppose I have 10 subjects in our um, table. So do I need to write that manually one by one? No. Or suppose in future it might happen they have introduced one more subject. How we can avoid writing that subject manually here? I just want to bring it automatically. If someone comes up with geography, my favorite subject is geography though. So if anyone wants to include geography, anyone want have that subject mentioned in the original table called student. If I input one record here, like Shreya got 90 in geography, so automatically it will be created as a column here. But as per the current query, I have to write geography explicitly here. Then it will going to come. But I do not want to do that manually. So how to achieve that? So let me show you. So first, um, let me introduce some variables. If you are not okay with the variables, I will mention whatever we have done, that is okay. You can skip this part. But if you want to see what we can do with variables, I can show you here. So I mentioned one variable for column. I will also mention the class about variable in the description section. If you want, you can just revise that as well. So I am mentioning few columns here, like one variable name column, one variable with columns, one variable named query. So here, what I am going to do first, I can do something like @column equals to @column plus I can mention all the subjects here, plus I can mention a comma, and I can bring it from a table called, so that is a advanced query, I will say. So I can find all the subjects from the student table. So dynamically, if you introduce a new subject, it will be automatically come as a column. So if I check, I am getting all the subjects. So, but I do not need everything. I just need to find the distinct subject. So if I do that, you can see chemistry, math, physics. If you add any other row like geography, you can see that here. Okay, so now I'm just going to take this. Okay, let me put a T because it is a subquery, and by this I can, if I check select at the red column, I can see them one after another separated by comma. But here I can see null because I did one mistake. I haven't introduced at the red column as blank, because if you add something with null, it will become null. So now if I check, it should give me all the subjects separated by comma. Got it. So now what I can do, I do not need the last column, last comma. I do not need that. So I have to I have to cut that somehow. So what I'm doing, select columns, something like that. I will use that variable, and left, I'm using the left function, and I'm using at the red column, comma, length of column, obviously. And here I'm introducing something -1. So I'm not going to take the last one, the last comma, I mean. So if I do that and if I run, okay, let me make it a bigger one. Yeah. So if I run, I'm just successfully, I have discarded the last comma. Okay, successfully. So now what I will do now, I will just put my query inside this variable. So what I'm doing, I'm just putting a quotes here. So whatever I'm putting everything inside the quote. Okay. And at the end, I'm going to run this. This is the way how you can run one query dynamically. So here I'm writing at the red query. So if I do that, still you can see my subjects are defined by means I have defined everything manually, like physics, chemistry, math. So I need to remove this part. Let me remove that part. I am putting up to here, everything will be coming static. Everything is written already by me. But this part, I'm going to add all the columns, and that will come from the query above. And then again, everything in a static way. So in between, that physics, chemistry, math is going to come from this variable called columns. Okay, now if I run everything, so okay, let me remove that one. I do not want to print these columns. So now if I execute everything, you can see you are getting all the records. Now you can try in your SQL server, just try to add one new subject like Shreya in geography got something, and automatically this query will be ended up with the new record. Okay, let me do that as well. I can do it now itself. So let me insert something, insert into student. Suppose I'm going to insert role, is name, marks, and subject. Marks and subject. Let me do that now itself in front of you. You can also try to insert different values here. So let me insert roll number two, Shreya. Suppose on geography, my best subject, but I couldn't complete. I couldn't take that subject as my career, because everyone says, like, if you take a science subject, then you are good. If you are taking geography, that means you are not good. Due to many reasons, I couldn't take that, but now I am trying to focus on my favorite subjects. I'm trying to travel around the world, trying to understand everything. So yeah, now if I put 85 for geography for Shreya, okay, something I'm doing wrong, or error converting data type varchar to numeric. Sorry, I have to put marks before than the subjects. Subjects will be the last one. Yeah. Now if I enter, it will be done. So without making any changes here, if I execute, you can see I got one extra column like geography, and only we have the data for Shreya there. Got it. So something like that. Obviously, I didn't put gender and state for Shreya, that value, so it is not available. But here you can see geography is added as an extra column that we cannot. If I run our other queries, like here, if I run this one, I'm not going to get geography. Why? Because I have mentioned all the subjects manually. So every time if there is one new subject, you have to go there and you have to write manually. Okay, so you have to be concerned always, like, okay, someone is entering some new subject, then I have to check and write it manually. But here you can be tension free, because all the columns here I'm choosing from a query itself, from a query itself. So this query might be tough for you because it will be a part of the advanced query. I will try to give a class on that as dynamic query in future. You can keep an eye on our playlist. So I will upload a class on dynamic query later, not now. But we have achieved all the columns from the table itself. We are now, if I execute these distinct subjects, we are getting, every time we are choosing our column dynamically. So we are not writing anything manually here. It will be populated from the from the from a query itself. Okay, from a variable. Okay, and that variable is populating by a query. So I will share this code in our description. You can have a look in the description, and you can try that by yourself as well. Okay, so that's the way we can achieve this thing. And okay, if I go to the next topic, like topic 4 and the last topic for the day, and it is about unpivot of something. Unpivot means whatever we have done, if we want to go reverse. So back to original student data format. Okay, let me do one thing first. Let me copy this query. Okay, let me make it simple again. I do not want to deal with the tough queries. Yeah. And let me do one thing, another thing. Let me delete the geography data, because otherwise it will be too complicated for you to understand. So subjects equals to geography. I want to delete that for the time being. If I delete that data, yeah, now our table looks like the previous. So here it is, physics, chemistry, math. Again, we do not have any geography data here. So I want to store it into some table. Let me store it with a table called Guha table, let's say. So if you have followed our DDL and DML class, you know, like I can store any data into any table. So let it be like Guha table. Okay. So I want to store this data into Guha table. This data means if I run, first let me run it. So this data means Ankan, with this pivoted data, I mean Ankan having all these marks into one record. Okay. So if I want to store this data into Guha table, yeah, it will look something like this. Select star from Guha. So you can put it into any table. So now if I want to get back the older format, what is the older format? If you remember, Ankan is having these marks into different rows. For physics, we are having one row for Ankan. For chemistry, we have a one row for Ankan. For math, we have one row. But if you say like, okay, for Ankan, we had two rows, 30.50 and 90 something. But we cannot get it back because with the current data is suggesting Ankan got 30.50 in physics. Obviously, in the real-time situation, you cannot remember everything, like who got what. You have probably 1 million data or 5 million data. Even if it is 1000 data, you cannot remember who got what marks in which subjects. So by the current data, I cannot have any trace of 90.50. So anyhow, we cannot go to the 3 records. We cannot go to the 4 records, means we cannot get it back, like whatever Ankan got, like 90. But whatever we have, we can go back to that previous structure. Okay, I'm not talking about getting back everything data wise. I am just talking about how we can move columns to row again. So previously, by using pivot, we achieved row to column. But now by using unpivot, we will convert columns to row. the vice versa. So how you can write that query? Very simple with the same format. So you have to write select star from, you have to give the original query or the source query, whatever you call it. So suppose select star from Guha, let it be like T. Here you have to mention unpivot. And obviously you have to choose two column name. Okay. So column names like I want to choose something like suppose scores, something I do not want to write marks. I want to use something like scores. Scores for I want to use something like subjects. I'm not going to use something like subjects. I want to use like SUBS subs. So just want to show you like it is not like going back data wise. I'm trying to achieve column to row, that format. So here I'm writing all the things manually, like whenever physics, I want it as a column, as a row, chemistry and math. So I just want to format wise, I want to go from column to row. Okay. So now if I give P something here and if I execute, so you can see we will get two new columns, course and subjects generated from this line. So for physics, I got one. For chemistry, I got one. For math, I got one. So Ankan is having 3 records. But obviously, we cannot get that back, that marks 90 that Ankan got in physics, because we are not talking about getting back everything data wise. We are talking about how we convert something from column to row again. So that is, we can achieve that by using unpivot. So these two columns will be the new columns introduced in the new format. So you can name it anything, because in the original table select star from Guha, you do not have these two columns. So whatever you mention here, it will be appeared as a new column. So you can mention scores, you can mention score, whatever. So it will be available here as a new column. Got it? So I think, yeah, it might be tough for you because we started with the student table, then we achieved the Guha table, and again we are trying to achieve some other table like something like student. So let's play with some new table. Okay. So if I try to play with some new table, suppose if I choose some table like select star from, say, movie customers, something like that. So we have a very good table like this. So now if I want to play with this, select star from, the format is very simple. Select star from, if I use T and if I write unpivot, after practicing 3 or 4 times, you will get this structure, like how to write the source query inside a subquery, how to write the unpivot thing, how to write the function. It is very simple. If you practice 4 or 5 times, I think it will be easier thing for you. So now I want to do something like for each row, for Divya, say, I want to break it into 2 or 3 parts. Let it be like 2 parts. I want to put movie name into one row and say movie hall into another row and show type into another row. So how I'm thinking, like I want to call it like values, or I want to write it like a property, something in, I want to break it into first movie name, say everything else will be the same in the different line. I want to create one new line for show type. I want to convert this column into row. And last one is movie hall. Say, if I put something like movie hall, and let me put it like P. So I should get the value like this. But here it is saying something, okay, column types are mismatching. So what I can do, first let me choose the data. Let me choose not everything. Let me choose customer ID. Then let me choose customer name. Let me choose it for Divya. And then these 3 columns. So I can do, to make the type same, what I can do, I can make everyone's type same. Otherwise, it might create some problem. So movie name as varchar, say 100, I can make it, comma, let it be like as movie name. Same, I can apply it for other two columns as well. Because if your column types are different, unpivot do some problem. So make it aligned. I am making everyone as varchar 100. Then it should not give any problem. So show type, let me copy show type, and last one is movie hall. So movie hall, and here as well movie hall. Whatever, you can give this bracket or not, that doesn't matter. Let me delete this bracket if it is confusing for you. Just I'm converting everything to varchar 100 so that, because I was getting some error. Simply, if they do not give the error, I will not going to do that. But here I with the last query, I got some error, so I converted that in this way. So if I run this query, I am discarding many columns. So I have now these 5 columns only: customer ID, customer name, and this movie name, show type, and movie or hall. I want to convert it into row. How it will be converted into row? To be very clear with that, because it is very confusing when I talk about row to column or column to row. I also take some time to think about that whenever it comes in my workplace, in my duty hours, when someone requests something like that. I have to take some break and I have to think, okay, what he or she is talking about. So if I execute this query, I am talking about this format. You can see. So 101 and Divya will be same, but this movie name, show type, and movie hall will be converted into the row. You can see, and these are the value. Okay, if I drag it here, so it will be something like Divya is going for the movie name Avatar 2, show type 3D, movie hall, sorry, movie hall is Cinepolis. Varun is having 3 records. So Varun is going for the movie name Avatar 2, show type 3D, movie hall is Cinepolis, something like that. Ishan is going for a movie like Babylon, for a movie Babylon, that is show type 2D, movie hall Cinepolis. So something like that. So the original table was movie customer. We didn't have anything like this. So I just wanted to convert all the columns into the row, and I want to show the values in this format. So I tried that with some new table. Okay. And it looks like that. And that is called unpivot. So simply pivot means if you want to convert some row into column, and unpivot means if you want to convert something column to row. Structure wise, it is very simple. You have to deal with this structure. You have to write either pivot or unpivot here. But what is the requirement, what they are looking for as output, that you need to understand first. Okay, take some break and try to think what is the input format and what is the output format. Then type your pivot or unpivot query. If you are stuck with some requirement as such in your workplace, or with some assignments, or anywhere, anything, you can let me know in the comment section. We all can try to solve that in our own way. Okay, just mention the input structure and the output structure. Then with some sample data, then we can try to think how we can achieve that using pivot or unpivot depending on the situation. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say by today's class. So you can have a look into our exercise as well. All the links has been shared in the description section as well, but you can try the exercise to solve. Okay, it will be available in that Facebook group. The link has been mentioned here. That's all. Let me know if you find any difficulties with pivot and unpivot. Bye.